It's chaos at Octomom's house as Nadya Suleman decides to give her 8 toddlers swimming lessons all at once. Our cameras were allowed into her dilapidated, crayon-covered walled home in Orange County, California, as the frenzied mom prepares for the lessons.
In a line. Everybody get out.
First step, applying sunscreen to her 2-year-old octuplets. But not everyone wants to be lathered up. After a reassuring kiss, it's time to move on to arm floaties. And that goes even worse. Octomom gives up on the inflatable armbands and heads straight to her backyard for the swimming lessons in her above-ground pool. But soon, a chorus of crying breaks out as her little ones resist taking the plunge. Finally, the 36-year-old mom drags 2 of her kids into the pool, but that's not the right move either. The poor swim instructor looks on, unable to start the lessons, until finally, little Malia agrees to be held in the pool.
Kick, babe, there you go. Kick.
Now the big moment. Will she put her head underwater?
1, 2, 3.
Success! It looks like she's actually starting to enjoy the lesson.
Hey, you did it. Good girl.
But how will it go for the other 7 kids? It's turbulent waters as the determined mom brings one crying child after another into the pool. Little by little, the hardworking mom manages to calm some of her kids, assuring them they are safe.
I am safe.
After a few hours, Nadya decides swimming lessons are over. And get this, she actually says the ordeal was nothing compared to the rest of her hectic schedule.
This is actually pretty easy. It's much harder actually because I won't have a friend over. I'll be with my 14 kids by myself. Usually on the weekends, 100%.
She says she only sleeps 3 or 4 hours a night because she's terrified about her family's safety.
I have a lot of, anxiety issues and panic because of hundreds of death threats from the first couple years and stalkers and all. You wouldn't believe what I've been through.
But what about the rundown condition of her home? Nadya admits she's too permissive with her older kids, allowing them to draw anywhere and crash their scooters into the walls.
This is not an adult house. This is a very dilapidated, torn up, hole-ridden, Picasso on the wall children's house.
But she emphasizes she loves her kids more than anything in the world. She wanted to set the record straight about that In Touch magazine interview where she was recorded saying babies disgust her.
I absolutely disgusted babies. They make me sick. I couldn't even imagine. I don't even look at them. I have to look the other way.
Nadya says it was all a joke.
There was this crazy thing that I said, I do not like babies. I was being dry. I was really being kind of sarcastic when I said I didn't mean it. I love children. I love all kids, all babies.
So with her love of babies, would she consider having any more?
No, thank you. Baby factory closed permanently.
It's the return of Octomom and all 8 of her famous brood of octuplets.
How old are you guys turning?
8.
Inside Edition was invited to their 8th birthday party. And as you'd expect at a birthday party for 8 kids, joyful chaos reigned.
Are you guys excited? Yeah!
Natalie Suleman, who used to be known as Nadya, has her hands full.
Hi, guys. Wake up. I'm going to get the girls up, okay?
In addition to the octuplets, Natalie is raising 6 older children. In total, 14 kids. Yikes. Home is a small 3-bedroom townhouse outside Los Angeles.
I have embraced every day an attitude of gratitude.
At 6 a.m., everyone is up and ready to start the day. School bags and lunches are good to go. Chaotic, yes, but each child has a chore. Some help with breakfast.
How many bowls do we have there on the table, guys? Okay, good. We're good.
Others are on laundry duty.
It's kind of messy, but we're a really strong, solid family unit, unbeknownst to what many people believe.
Natalie drives her children to school and other activities in a white van.
Help? I don't get any help. I haven't had any help for many, many, many years.
Happy birthday to you!
Back at the party, the kids celebrate turning 8 with what else? Chocolate cake.
Time for mass millions of that.
For some people, these little round balls hold the American dream.
a chance to grab for the brass ring.
You have about as much chance of hitting the lottery as you do of being struck by lightning.
But despite the odds, somebody's got to win. The folks at the Lottery Commission love it when the big prize goes to a needy family. Makes great public relations. But what happens when the winner is an alleged underworld boss? Well, that's what they found out in Boston when a man named Whitey Bulger hit the jackpot last July.
Whitey Bulger is a 61-year-old resident of South Boston, Irish Catholic, convicted bank robber, did time in Alcatraz.
He's perceived as a very mysterious fellow, but at the same time very well known because of the federal government, law enforcement officials like the FBI who have pegged him as one of the top mobsters in the New England area.
This is James Whitey Bulger. Few people ever get close enough to take his picture. But even if he's rarely seen, most people in Boston know who Whitey is. He's the reputed king of Beantown's crime world.
Mr. Bulger basically was controlling the loan sharking, extortion, narcotics, and gaming in the greater Boston area.
Despite those allegations, Whitey's been a real pro at eluding the law. Since serving time for bank robbery 25 years ago, he hasn't spent a night in jail.
He's famous for only using payphones and then moving mysteriously just when the authorities get the payphone that he's using, he moves to another one.
He must have all the luck of the Irish one could have.
Whitey's also connected. His own brother, William Bulger, is the state Senate president. We tried to talk to Senator Billy Bulger, but were told by an aide that the senator would not comment on his brother's past.
It is an interesting coincidence, shall we say, that the top mobster in New England is also the brother of one of the top political figures. And it's something that I know for many years people have tried to link them up, but have been unable to do so.
There are some who say Whitey's only real concern these days is the IRS. An IRS net worth investigation hangs over him like a dark cloud. In a net worth probe, he would be forced to disclose his sources of income.
It's a very, very serious threat for him to be investigated along that line.
But a few weeks ago, master criminal Whitey Bulger became Lucky Whitey Bulger. Unbelievably lucky Whitey Bulger. A lottery ticket, and 6 numbers later, all his IRS fears disappeared.
This could be your lucky night.
To say the least, it was Whitey's lucky night. He hit the big one. A reputed crime kingpin was suddenly part owner in $14.3 million of taxpayers' legal money after winning the Massachusetts state lottery.
I was stunned, absolutely stunned.
Immediately, there was public outrage.
Many of my constituents are appalled at the fact that this organized crime figure is getting all of this legal loot.
The only person who probably would have caused more trouble is if my mother had won.
At lottery headquarters, officials were busy checking their computers to be sure everything was on the up and up. They determined the winning ticket was a season ticket purchased by a Michael Linsky.
It was shared with a Patrick Linsky, I believe his brother, with a James Bulger, and with a fellow by the name of Kevin Weeks.
The winning partnership was made up of 3 guys from Whitey's neighborhood. Captured on this lottery surveillance video, Whitey, Weeks, and the Linsky brothers went to lottery headquarters just a few days after the lottery drawing. Whitey, highlighted here, and the others picked up the first of their 20 annual installments. Whitey took home more than $89,000.
First the Linskys posed holding the checks, and then Kevin Weeks posed for a picture, and then they said, oh, Mr. Bulger, do you want your picture taken? And he ducked out the side door.
Since then, Whitey and the others have been lying low.
Could the lottery have possibly been fixed?
Everything was absolutely crystal clean. No evidence of any tampering.
Those who watch the Boston crime scene say Whitey's bonanza couldn't have come at a better time. Why? Well, it seems everyone was well aware of Whitey's desperate need to launder money as a way to protect his considerable wealth from the IRS.
One time he was stopped at Logan Airport trying to take $100,000 out of the country.
With his lottery jackpot, Whitey will no longer need to launder his money.
Now he can show a significant amount of legal money, and that keeps the IRS off of him, and that keeps the federal authorities off of him.
So it seems Whitey Bulger may have gotten away once again. You don't last this long on the streets without a talent for keeping your nose clean. And Whitey's latest coup only ensures his reputation as one of the luckiest men in the crime game.
There's definitely a school of thought out on the street in Boston that that Whitey, once again, pulled a rabbit out of his hat.
When you win the lottery, you more or less retire, don't you?
She dusts, vacuums, and mops the floor. But Maureen Ebel wasn't tidying up her home. She had to get a job cleaning another person's home after she says she lost her entire multi-million-dollar life savings in Bernard Madoff's alleged Ponzi scam.
How dare you? What you have done is an abomination on the human race.
Before the Madoff scandal broke, Maureen was living a very comfortable life. Her husband, a prominent doctor, died 8 years ago and left her with a huge fortune that included homes in Pennsylvania and Florida.
No one gave us anything. We earned every penny ourselves.
A relative suggested she invest the money with Madoff.
$2 million.
Maureen gave me a glimpse of her portfolio he set up for her.
Pfizer, $138,000. PepsiCo Incorporated, $108,000. Coca-Cola Company, $108,000.
It sounded like rock-solid investments in blue-chip companies. Then, last December, Maureen was in her home in Wellington, Florida, when she heard the shocking news of Madoff's arrest. Maureen's entire portfolio, over $5 million, all invested with Madoff, wasn't worth the paper it was written on.
My life savings is gone.
Her finances in ruins, the 60-year-old widow put shame aside and was determined to survive.
$11 change.
She worked a cash register at a concession stand. Then a neighbor offered her a job cleaning her home, and she jumped at it.
I wasn't born wealthy, and I know how to work.
So the once well-to-do woman found herself working as a maid at the house where she had been a welcomed guest, vacuuming the rugs, cleaning the mirrors, and mopping the floor. Maureen was also forced to sell her Florida home, but walked away with almost nothing.
It's very hard to leave.
We were there as she left for the last time.
It's all gone.
Maureen has now moved back full-time to Pennsylvania, where she's landed a small office job, earning just enough to cover her mortgage.
I'm very, very worried about it.
Maureen says she sold her furniture, paintings, even her jewelry, and yet she's still struggling to hold on to this house outside of Philadelphia.
I've put the word out to all my friends that I would do any type of errands that they wanted done.
So for a little extra money, Maureen agreed to wash her boss's car. Maureen says there's no job beneath her. As for Bernie Madoff, she only hopes he spends the rest of his life in jail.
There would be a line of thousands of us slamming the cell door closed on Bernard Madoff.
You would never guess in a million, or should we say 27 billion years, that this bicycle repairman is the long-lost biological father of Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon.com, the man who changed the way we shop. Look at 69-year-old Ted Jorgensen side by side with Bezos. They even share the same laugh. Until recently, Jorgensen had never even heard of Amazon. He doesn't even use a computer. Jorgensen says he still remembers the very last time he saw his son.
I was working in a Walmart, and I remember them coming to visit me for some reason. It was cold, and he had his little winter coat on, and I just remember him walking down the aisle coming to see me.
Jeff Bezos' mother, Jackie, and Jorgensen were teenagers when they got married in 1963. Back then, Jorgensen was a poor circus performer. Their son, Jeff, was born in 1964. After the marriage broke up, Jorgensen gave up custody. Jackie remarried Mike Bezos, who adopted Jeff and raised him as his own.
Have you ever regretted that decision?
Big mistake. But at the time, I thought it was the best.
Jorgensen opened a bike shop and toiled away in obscurity for the next 40 years.
Ted Jorgensen was working in his bike shop here in Phoenix, Arizona, when a biographer writing a book about Jeff Bezos came in with news that would change Ted's life forever. When the writer came in and told you that your son was Jeff Bezos, what was your reaction?
He asked me if I knew who Jeff Bezos was.
And what did you say?
I said, no, the name kind of sounds familiar, but I don't know.
Jorgensen lives in this modest house in a middle-class Phoenix suburb, a far cry from Bezos' lakefront mansion in Seattle. Forbes magazine lists Bezos as America's 12th richest man, worth an estimated $27 billion.
27 billion, with a B.
Jorgensen's second wife of 26 years, Linda, says because Bezos is so rich and powerful, contacting him is difficult.
Because of who Jeff is, I think it's made an obstacle that wouldn't have been there had he been a garbage collector.
Bezos has made only one comment about his biological father. I've never met him. The only time I ever think about it is when a doctor asks me to fill out a form. Jorgensen is battling emphysema. He says he wants to see his son one last time before he dies. He says he doesn't want a penny from his son and just wants to apologize for what he calls the biggest mistake of his life.
What would you say to him?
I just would like to tell him I used to change your diapers, and just see him, shake his hand and tell him he's really done a good job with his life.